In this video, we're going to be looking at the Fotodiox EF to L mount lens adapter on the Panasonic S1. Here's the story. The Fotodiox ND Throttle Fusion Smart AF lens adapter EF to L mount allows you to use your EF lenses on selected L mount Alliance cameras. In this video, I've paired it with the Panasonic S1 and my Canon 70-200 f2.8 lens. The adapter features a built-in variable ND filter from 2 to 8 stops and enables full electronic function to the lens. This includes changing aperture, autofocus, and image stabilization. With the Panasonic S1, single autofocus is supported, but continuous autofocus is not. The adapter has a geared rotating ring for the variable ND, making it compatible with follow focus systems. The adapter also has a micro USB port for firmware updates. Finally, it comes with this wooden box to store when not being used, which is a nice touch. With all that said, let's have a look at some footage. To start this video off, I'll give us a frame of reference by starting with the Sigma MC21 adapter first, so you can see what the lens looks like without any ND. We're currently at 70mm f/25. Now we've added the Polar Pro variable ND 2 to 5 stops, and it's currently at 4 stops, so you can see what the difference is. And we're now at f8. And now we're on the Fotodiox ND adapter set to the minimum setting at f18. And now we've gone to f8 and adjusted the ND to compensate. And now we're at f2.8, adjusting the ND to compensate as well. And we were shooting on a partly cloudy day, so the sun came in and out from the clouds. Now we're at a 5.6. And this duck would not shut up. So we're at a 5.6 now, 70mm. This is shooting towards the sun. And now I'm using the autofocus, so trying to get the focus of the birds in the middle of the frame. Now I've adjusted the ND. And now I'm trying to get focus on the duck, and I'm just using one area autofocus. And unfortunately, this adapter is not compatible with continuous autofocus on the Panasonic S1. So we're at a 200mm now, 5.6. Getting autofocus. And then the birds walk out of my focus plane. And there we go, back in focus. So now I'm using the touch screen trying to get autofocus on the birds. So the focus is going onto the grass, not the birds. I want the birds, not the grass. Still struggling. And now have focus on the bird. Here's just a landscape shot at f8. And this is shooting towards the sun. And this is with the max amount of ND put in. So as you can see, there's a lot. And now I'm just playing around with the ND. And now I'm going to get focus on the chain. There we go. So a little bit of hunting. Wasn't as quick as I'd like or as accurate in one focus pull. And now here's some handheld shots. And this is with manual focus now as well. And the focus pulls are a little rough. Now we're at F8. Still in F8. And now we're at 200 millimeters, F2.8. And now we're at 70 millimeters, F2.8. And then I changed the ND a little just to brighten up the shot. Now I'm playing around with the autofocus. And that ducks back. And I had a bit of trouble trying to get the focus on the duck. As you can see, his eye's a little soft. Now the duck's in focus. And then it goes a little soft again. Keep in mind we're at 2.8, so the depth of field is quite shallow. This is probably an instance where you just go into manual focus. And then we lose the focus. And here's my poor attempt of trying to keep him in focus with manual focus. And some more autofocus tests. It's fairly hit and miss. And then we get focus on the bird in the front. And now we've got some handheld shots at f2.8. Show you the depth of field and the motion that you can get with the ND. Not having to open up your iris to f2.8 and then compensate with the shutter, which is great. That's the whole point of getting a variable ND. Now we're getting focus on the walkers. So you saw it kind of struggled for a second. And some more autofocus shots and handheld. Having the autofocus is quite handy, but sometimes it's not as reliable as you'd like it to be. So just knowing the limitations of this lens adapter and the camera is really handy, because if you can see that the camera is going to start struggling to get autofocus, just flick it into manual and get it yourself, and then you'll avoid being frustrated in not getting the shot. and struggling to get that focus. This is all single autofocus. And we're getting focus on the poles, not the person walking. And now at f2.8, you can see that I'm trying to get focus on the pole and it's really struggling. Still struggling. And now we're in focus. So after a few attempts, it finally got there. But then when you stop it down to f8, it's a lot more manageable. And this is all handheld at 200 mils as well. So after getting that test footage with the adapter, I was pretty happy with how it performed. Yeah, the autofocus wasn't crash hot. It also doesn't have continuous autofocus, which is one of the features that I did purchase this adapter thinking it would have. This would have been an advantage over the Sigma MC21 adapter, which I already have, but that doesn't support continuous autofocus on the Panasonic S1. With that said, it's not a deal breaker. The main reason that I purchased this adapter was for the variable ND, and from what I can tell so far, it does do a good job, and I'm pretty happy with the results. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be continuing to do test videos with this adapter, testing out different lenses like the Sigma 18-35 f1.8, some of my Carl Zeiss prime lenses as well, and also the Laowa 12mm f2.80D. So look out for those videos, and if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on content creation in the future.